Hi folks, I wanted to just go over the instructions for your literature review, which is due at the end of this semester, which is coming right up. As I had mentioned earlier in the course, this class goes really fast. So I just wanted to point out a few things. First of all, oops, sorry. First of all, you're going to choose an area of educational psychology that pertains to the readings of this course. I had given you some examples in the little narrative that I posted last week, and I've given you an example of an actual review of an article here. So I'm going to go back up here, and the noises you hear in the background are my menagerie of pets being themselves, trotting around and chasing one another, so ignore them. I've given you a nice resource here, and I'd like to open it and show it to you because I really think this will be useful for you in terms of understanding what a literature review is if you've not done it before. It's kind of like, it's part of research, but it's not, it's like just a piece of the research. It's not a whole research paper. So again, what it is, what to evaluate. Authors of literature reviews evaluate a body of literature by identifying relations, contradictions, gaps, and inconsistencies in the literature, and by suggesting the next step to solve the research problem, okay? So what I'm asking you to do is to pick a topic, an educational topic, and let's just say you're going to do Vygotsky's zone of proximal development and how it pertains to reading instruction. So what I'm asking you to do are to find 5 research articles about that topic. Please don't use the internet, just going out there and searching and Googling something and taking something from a help site or a .com site. I really want you to use peer-reviewed articles, okay? And I'll show you how to do that in a second. If you haven't used the library databases, now's a good time to begin doing that. If you don't have a library card, you should get one. But at this late date, you might not get one in time, so you can use the Marble databases. I'll put a link to that on the assignment tab. Marble databases are available to anyone in the state. You can use them through your local library, or you can create your own account to get to them, and they are free. A lot of the databases that are on our library databases are there as well, and I will help you think about which ones you'll want to access. But back to this for now. So you're going to see the steps, okay? Going to have, this one says like 7 to 12 and 10 to 15 pages long, but yours need not be that long. 5 articles. And I would say maybe, it's going to be 5 to 10 pages maybe. I don't think it would be less, maybe a little bit less than 5. Maybe 10 is too much. It depends on how much discussion you provide. Again, selecting a topic and collecting articles, choosing well-researched areas of your interest, narrowing your topic. I really want you to read through this. I'm not going to go through every single piece here, but I want you to read through this just to get a sense. Now, when it says here 2 good sources in psychology or Psychology Bulletin and current directions in psychological science, they're absolutely correct. But I want you to look at educational databases because the focus here really is on educational psychology. And going to those 2 databases will be too broad for you. Going to education databases will narrow it for you in terms of what you want to do. This is really important. Find articles that are readable. Some articles have very dense language, and you can spend a day just trying to work through the opaque language. So make sure that the research is accessible to you, okay? Let's see. Again, about how to read the articles. Really, really pay attention to this. Read the articles first, then scan them. Don't try to read them straight through or you'll get bogged down. If you can read into it a little ways, sometimes you'll say, this just isn't going to work for me, and then you can discard it and look for another one. Don't try to make an article fit your topic just because you've run out of time to, you've waited to the last minute or something to look for these. So take some time to do this. As I mentioned last week, you really need to have begun to think about this. Again, this paper kind of looks at a bigger literature review, but again, it's got really, really good information for you. Okay, so I'm not going to go through that whole thing. I just wanted to open it and show you. So here's the UMA library. Okay, when you click on this, I've linked you right to the education. Notice it says education right here. So it's going to give you some great information here. You can go to APA style because that's what I'm asking you to use. Most of you have had psychology courses have used APA. Most of you will have used MLA. I really want you to use APA, and it's important you get it right. Okay, so when you click on this, it will take you here, and there are various resources you can use. I highly recommend OWL at Purdue. A link to the online tutor for Augusta tutoring, Bangor tutoring, so if you want some help with this, there's a place to go. How to do citation from the system. Lots of resources here. But I want to get down here because this is where you want to look for, I'm sorry, that's setting, finding articles. Go back up here. So you can do the one search and just type in your topic and it'll kind of bring up books and articles and newspaper articles and so forth. That's a good place to start, but I highly recommend just going right to the specific journals. The ones that I really recommend you use are education full text because you'll get the full text online as a PDF. You won't have to send away for it. You can send for it if you want to through interdisciplinary, interlibrary loan. But if you can get it just, with a click of a button, it's a whole lot easier. So Education Full Text is a good one. ERIC Education ProQuest is a good one as well. Academic Search Complete is another good one, and I've not used these other three, so I'm not clear on those. Okay, so that's it. And those are the articles, the databases I ask you to use. Let me open this to show you how that works. I'm already signed in with my library card, I hope. So here I am, I'm going to search for something. And so if I put Vygotsky, ZPD, reading, okay, and search, I've got 18 articles here that I can look through, all right? I want to limit this because I want to have full text. And let my spinning wheel of death kind of cool off here a minute. And okay, so I want full text, so I'm going to limit it to that. Now I get 6, okay? And I can open these and I can read them and I can decide if they're usable or not. They may be, they may not be. I may have narrowed my search too much. So maybe if I want to go back up here and take off reading and just do another search, still getting the same sort of thing but different articles, all right? Gesture and creating zones of proximal development for second language learning. No, that's not quite what I want either. So I'm going to do another kind of search here and put ZPD reading strategies. So you see you have to kind of do a bunch of different searches to try to get where you are. And this is, now we're narrowing it down even more here. And I think some of these I might be able to use. So that's how you go about doing this. Let's try another database here just to see what we get. Click it all the way back. I don't want it to click out, so to the library. There, nope, one more. So I might want to use Academic Search Complete. The search page will look very similar. You're just exploring different areas. So maybe I want to look at Kohlberg and his moral reasoning. Try another topic here and do a search. So I've got 42 articles here. I could look through all of them, but I want to limit it to full text. So now I've got 36, okay? And I can limit it even more if I want to, but I prefer to kind of go through here and look at them and get some ideas. It may be that you want to do something like relationships, teachers, students, and you do a search. Look, 4,730, so a lot of research has been done here. I'm definitely going to have to limit this one. So I might put high school, I might put behavior, see what happens. So now I have 93. And again, so you'll want to look carefully. The ones that are done with schools outside the U.S. are sometimes very useful and sometimes not because the cultures are different. So you'll want to look carefully at them and make sure they pertain to our culture as well. All right, so I'm going to go back to the Blackboard site. So this is the resource for you. Now, the Marble databases, and I think I can search for them for you. Yep. provide you with the same kinds of databases. And if you go to this site, you can set up, I'm already set up, and you can set yours up. Notice here that you can get Academic Search Premier, which is great. You can go to ERIC, and you get ERIC Education here. So you can get the same databases in the Marble if you don't have a library card, if you prefer to use that. And I will put a link up here. All right, so here's some guidance for you. Your paper should have an introduction that defines and contextualizes your topic, your reasons for conducting the review, and identifies any conflicts, gaps, or problems in what has been published. So this is your introduction. Decide how you want to organize your discussion of the sources, thematically, chronologically, or some other way. I do want to see some organization. Each source should be summarized, analyzed, and evaluated in at least one paragraph, and often will need more, but at least one paragraph. How effective is the argument presented in the source? Do you agree or disagree? Is there something missing? These are questions to help you think about how you would summarize, analyze, and evaluate. It's important to include sources that take a variety of stances on the issue. So if it's a controversial issue, make sure that you're looking at both sides. Make sure you use attributive language. For example, the author indicates, or say you were reading something written by me, you'd say Dean argues. Don't just say he, or don't just put the authors. You will need to make sure that you put the author's name down. And in APA format, anytime you mention the author's name, the year of publication goes after the author's name in parentheses. And that's part of APA format, and you'll want to look at that carefully if you've not used it before. Indicate how the source assists you in understanding your topic. So, as you begin that introduction, you'll want to think about what your topic is and why you've chosen it. What's your question about that? Maybe your question is, can I use Vygotsky's zone of proximal development in developing reading strategies for my special needs students? That's kind of a really narrow focus, but that may be your question. And so that way it really focuses your discussion of each resource and how it helps you to understand your question or answer your question, and so forth and so on. You want to point out whether your source is research-based, idea-based, or experience-based. Remember, the very first chapter we read in our text was about research and how different kinds of research are conducted. Empirical-based would be research-based. Conceptual is about ideas, where it's not so much about going out into the field and researching, but it's about looking at various what other people have said about it, the concept, and then doing a meta analysis of that. Anecdotal is more observational or experience-based, what one has seen or experienced. Use quotations sparingly. I really want to see your words, but make sure that you attribute anything you take from the article properly. Use APA style, very important. And here's another piece. Use a narrative voice that connects your research to you. In other words, I'd rather read how each source helps you rather than hearing a disembodied third person. Now, that doesn't mean that in an academic paper, I want to hear, in my eyes, I think this author is, a crock and isn't doing this right. That's not appropriate discourse for an academic paper. But you could say, with all due respect, I disagree with the author on his point regarding XYZ. And also the other thing you don't want to do is put, exclamation points, like, are you kidding? That's not appropriate for an academic paper either. Summarize your findings in a conclusion. So make sure you have a conclusion that sort of pulls everything together. Now, below here is an example of a one-paragraph review of one article. And I'm going to read it to you because I think that will help you. Because it contextualizes a question. It keeps going back to the question I wrote this, by the way. So my question was about difficulties in enacting collaborative tutoring in a writing center. So, wanting to know what others have written about the difficulties in enacting collaborative tutoring, I continue to look for scholars who have engaged in writing center work and who have written specifically about collaboration in writing centers. In a conceptual study, note that I noted what kind of a research study it was. It was conceptual. Bishop, and notice that I have her last name and the year of publication in parentheses after her name, always. Investigates collaborative and transformative talk, and like Bruffy, 1984, now I'm comparing her to another article that I had reviewed earlier, she posits that writing centers provide the space necessary for collaborative learning. Bishop underscores the value of, and notice I have a quote here, talking with, and I've emphasized that, so I have, when I put them in italicized it, I have to say that it was my emphasis, not hers. Talking with writers about writing. And now because I've used a quotation, I have to put a full citation after that, year of publication, comma, and the page. I don't need to put her name in because I've already attributed her name at the beginning. Collaboratively rather than directing advice about writing at them. Furthermore, she asserts that reciprocal learning between peer, tutor, and client, understood through the concept of Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, underlies collaborative work in the Writing Center. This concept involves the understanding that social interaction with others precipitates the development of higher mental functions. And now, because I've paraphrased something she wrote in her article, I have to put a full citation after this. I didn't use a direct quotation, but I did paraphrase her ideas. It's not my ideas, it's hers, so I have to give credit. And here's how you do a complete in-text citation in APA form. Author's last name, comma, year of publication, comma, and the page number. While I knew the tutors, and now see, I'm bringing it back to me. I'm really, this narrative voice, I'm connecting it to my research. While I knew the tutors in our writing center were certainly striving for the kind of social interaction and collaborative talk that could result in reciprocal learning, I also knew that enacting social learning in an institutional setting predominantly characterized by a conventional teacher-centered model would be difficult for even the most motivated tutors or learners. Bishop's ideas about the collaborative nature of writing center spaces is important for both post-secondary and secondary writing centers. Collaboration is key to the kind of peer collaboration and peer review that takes place within writing centers. So I'm kind of summing it up and indicating why this study is important for me and what I'm going to gain from it. I hope that's useful for you in terms of thinking about how you will construct your analyses, reviews, summaries, and evaluations. I want to go over the rubric with you. This is how you will be scored, and it's important that you look at the rubric so you don't miss any pieces. One moment while it opens up. Well, okay, so introduction. The topic is introduced and the groundwork is laid as to the direction of the review. The topic is appropriate to Ed Psych. And I can take you back to here where I have indicated what your introduction I'm asking you to do. Okay, dogs barking. Sorry. You have a balanced viewpoint. It's objective. You're looking at various perspectives. It's coherent. Each cited study relates to the topic and to the other and deepens the reader's understanding, and it's connected throughout. There are at least 5 studies from reliable peer-reviewed resources, and they're valid and applicable to the topic. Your analysis and evaluation collection of studies are analyzed and evaluated for differences and commonalities about the topic, as well as their validity and usefulness for the writer and the audience. Conclusion and synthesis, the results of the analysis and evaluation are brought to a logical conclusion. The information is logically organized by some point, either theme or viewpoint. It flows well. It's connected throughout the paper. The mechanics are impeccable. You've gone through here and edited it very well. You've used APA citation, and your reference page complies with APA citation. So there are 2 grading points for your citation. One for the body of the paper, in-text citations are correctly used and appropriately, and your reference page is set up correctly. All right? This is for a total of 100 points. Okay? All right. So I think that should do it for you. I know I've gone through it quickly, but if you read everything carefully, you should be fine. It's a 400 level course because I'm going on the assumption you've written lengthy papers in the past, so this should not come as any surprise to you. And again, this one probably is not going to be as long as some you've written in 400 level courses because we are in a 7-week class, but I am expecting it to be well done and well documented. All right, so I think that's it, folks, and I will say that we will be talking again soon.